Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam Secretary, could you take the roll call, please?
Mr. Diliberto.
Here.
Mr. Akmanowitz. Mr. Kern.
Here.
Ms. Mitchell. Ms. Weed. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Jackson.
Here.
Mr. McCucci.
Here.
And Mr. Klein.
Here. Thank you. A couple of announcements. This meeting is being recorded by the Board Secretary, and I would like to mention that this is U.S. Teacher Appreciation Week. So to all our teachers out there, thank you for everything that you do. We appreciate you very much.
It's also Nurses Appreciation Week.
I'm sorry?
It's also Nurses Appreciation Week.
Nurses? Okay. Well, we certainly appreciate our nurses, too. Thank you.
Special teaching nurses. Like drop.
There you go. Okay, well, that moves us to the general public comment portion of the meeting, and I understand we do have one person that has signed up for public comment.
Kurt
First 2 minutes, Kurt, not 5.
Kurt Handel.
Looks like a senior classroom right now at Valley School. Attendance, not here, not here.
Kurt Handel, Milford Township, but I guess I'm here wearing many hats. First of all, I'd like to thank the board. Last week you recognized the high school wrestling program and winning the title and the guys that made it to the state show. I appreciate that. The guys worked really hard. Sorry I couldn't make it. I already had a previous engagement. But thanks for recognizing the guys. I was thrown in last minute here, asked to come to speak to all of you about the presentation that was given at the last board meeting about taking the middle school programs, athletic programs, and consolidating them into one varsity program. To be quite honest with you, as a head coach of the high school who's responsible for the 7 to 12 programs, I did not know that that was being presented last week. I don't know if that's a done deal or if that's a discussion or if that's something you even vote on. I don't know. But we're working on trying to sit down and find out exactly what's going on with that and what might be happening down the road with that. I'm here primarily for myself, to speak about myself, but we did have a meeting. All the head coaches of the high school got together. We've sort of put some questions together, but I didn't feel it was appropriate to bring here tonight because we just don't know enough of what's going on with that situation. But I'm here to say that I think it's not a good proposal to be taking away opportunities from our young kids to have the ability to be able to jump into a starting position. It has really produced a lot of kids that wouldn't have played a sport. For instance, I'm going to speak about my sport of wrestling. I've had many of young men who started, and ladies, a few ladies, that started in 7th grade. First year wrestler, they didn't know a thing. They didn't know what a headgear was. They don't know how to do anything. They went out and they got their butts kicked. You know, they got their butts handed to them. But as they grew, those young men who got the opportunity to wrestle because there was a starting spot there. Hey, there's a starting spot. I'm going to give this sport a try because I can be on the varsity squad. They were crucial in us winning many of the league titles that we've won over the years. I've had a couple that have even made it to the state tournament. And if that opportunity, that position wasn't filled, I should say if it was filled, they would never have had that opportunity. So every one of the sports is different. Each one brings a unique piece to it. But I instead of making a wholesale change, a knee-jerk reaction, in my opinion, and decreasing that opportunity, I would like to see us look at why, since we've combined the two programs, why has our number of students participating in extracurricular activities dropped? Why is that? I don't teach at the middle level. I don't know that I don't know. That would be the big piece that I'd really, before we start making changes, take a look at some of the reasons why. Another thing with our middle school program is if we go to one varsity program, that'll take another competition out of the kids' schedule. And I don't know if you've ever looked at the middle school athletic schedule. There's about 6 varsity competitions in a season, which if you had any kids in youth programs or high school programs, that's probably about a third of the competitions they actually get. So our middle school programs are truly an intramural program already, and I think one of the recommendations was to start an intramural program. We got that already. That's our middle school athletic program. And as one assistant principal told me, he said, "Kurt, middle school athletics is about exposing the kids to the program. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about getting them involved." I'm not a big, I struggle with swallowing that philosophy, but I understand it and I appreciate it. And we have benefited over the years from it. My program has done some things to try to extend our middle school kids' programs. So people say, well, how does wrestling always do so well every year? And that's because we found different competition for the kids, and not all sports are able to do that. We're a pretty close-knit sport, and we have a lot of parent support with that. So with that piece, I'd like to see us, why did we lose all the kids? And the second part, if any of the reasons are because of competitiveness, it would be nice to see us pursue maybe another middle school program. The PIAA allows in the sport of wrestling 22 competitions, and my wrestlers get 6 matches. So we fall a little short. Many of our youth program, the kids come in getting 30 matches a year, 30 to 40 matches a year. We go to the middle level, and they're getting 6. They come to the high school, and they're averaging about 45. So that's been an issue, wow, since I went to Milford Middle School. So before we make that decision, if the decision hasn't been made yet, I really would like to open that discussion and really look at all the options and see. I just hate taking opportunities away from young kids, ladies and the girls and the guys. And the other part about middle school athletics, last piece I'll end up here, is middle school athletics, kids for the first time who don't have a lot of parent support get the opportunity to be involved in sport because it happens right after school. They can stay there. All they have to do is get a ride home. Someone in the neighborhood normally takes them home. And that's another piece that I just, we've combined them, we've consolidated. I think we're still working out some of the kinks in getting it to flow smoothly. And I just, if we could, let's hold off on combining them for another few more years to see if that ebb and flow, if we really are that low in numbers, then let's look to combine and see what we can do about it. Thank you for letting me come in tonight, and have a great evening. And yeah, it's a big crowd tonight, guys.
Thank you for your insight, Mr. Handel. Is there any other public comment? Okay. So let's move on to the superintendent's report. Sir, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'll take 1 second. Mr. Kuzo has a short presentation on our new website.
And I'm going to be very brief. It's really not a presentation as there's not much there yet. But in lieu of it moving further right now, the website, kind of the main template is ready. I'm working on migrating the content with the company, and then Gary will continue that process with working with the buildings and making sure content is updated and correct and migrated. So just wanted to show you kind of the initial template of the website. It looks similar, but the layout's a lot different. So a lot of this is up for, we can move things around, change things. It's actually showing up a little different up here. But as you can see, some of those menus are rather lengthy. But one thing we liked about this particular template was the upcoming events are up front. One thing we'd ask of the board is at one time we did have a communications committee, Mr. Kern. Not certain. What I want to avoid is moving forward in a direction and then having some things that we wanted to do that we didn't do. So if the board would like to kind of have some guidance along the way as we get further into this process, just want to present it to you and see if that's something you'd like to do or as we move forward. I know you were the chair of that. I think we only had like 2 or 3 meetings. There wasn't much there, but I know it was something the board was interested in to make sure that where the website goes is adequate for everybody's needs. So if we want to start that up, we have until July 1st as a cutover. So just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Sir, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Shortest superintendent's report ever. Okay.
Ms. Weed, did you say that? Oh, wow.
When he's on vacation, we usually get a short one. Only a couple times early in the year, he had nothing to say.
We had to get to that band thing in August.
All right, we're going to move on to the NIDIG renovation bid awards. Before we start, we did have a facilities committee meeting, and I'm going to ask Mr. Diliberto just to review that, if you would, sir, because it kind of ties in with what we're going to be discussing next. Thank you.
So last Thursday, the facilities committee met. We reviewed the NIDIG renovation program. Mr. Lynch described the bids as a very successful bid process. During that meeting, we reviewed what was bid and also with the alternates, and that's what we put in front of everybody today for vote, and it did actually come in under budget, so that was another pleasant surprise.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Diliberto. And that moves us to the NIDIG renovation bid awards. They consist of the approval of construction contracts for the NIDIG Elementary School addition and renovations project. We are looking for a motion to approve the construction contracts with Lobar Inc., Guy M. Cooper Inc., Borough Developers Inc., and Stanrock Plumbing Inc. for the NIDIG Elementary School project as presented. The Lobar contract is worth $15,855,000. The mechanical construction contract with Gary M. Cooper is $3,573,000. The electrical construction with Borough Developers came in at $2,762,500, and the plumbing construction is Stanrock Plumbing, and that is $1,422,500. So that is A. B on the process is construction, testing, and special inspection services with Geotechnology Associates, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $60,000. And then the commissioning, verification, authority, and testing, adjusting, balancing services. That has to do with, I believe, the HVAC systems in there, and that is not to exceed an amount of $55,000. And last on this agenda is a motion to approve authorizing Dr. William Harner and/or Mr. Zachary Shuck, school district officials, to sign, execute agreements relating to the awarding of the bids for NIDIG Elementary School and renovation projects. And this would be in the event that the board wasn't able, or I wasn't able to sign anything related to this, that there would be someone in the administration that could. So, with that said, do I have a motion to approve the NIDIG Elementary renovation project bids as presented?
So moved.
Ms. Weed, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Mitchell, discussion.
Can I get some input from our friends at Dewey? Our Schrader, is Dewey here today? I don't see anybody.
It's supposed to be, but not yet.
Okay, I'm not sure if Schrader can answer these questions then. Questions about our insurance for the labor and the construction. We've had a number of construction projects over the recent years where everything was done and wonderful, and all of a sudden we see a leak somewhere or a failure, I mean, I want to make sure, I imagine that's standard protocol, but I want to make sure that should things begin to fail, we're not going to have any trouble getting these contractors back to fix things.
My name is Daniel Hoffer with Schrader Group, and unfortunately, Jamie couldn't make it tonight, so he was sending Mike Spanafora, and he's on his way, so I got a text here while we were talking. And David's in North Carolina, so I have the good privilege to be in front of you tonight to talk to you about the wards. As far as the insurance is concerned, built into the construction contracts are a warranty period that can be either 1 or 2 years. Builder's risk insurance is something that the district also purchases for the project. As far as insurance, if anything catastrophic would happen during the course of construction, it's covered on the insurance policy. Do you want to add anything to that?
The only thing I would add is we do keep retention on the contracts. I forget the number off the top of my head, 10%, I believe, retainage. And then we also have liquidated damages, too, if it's not done within the specified periods.
I guess another question I would have would be, during the construction, the oversight, I'm assuming, again, that Dewey is doing the majority of the oversight for the building itself. I know for the high school, we had a board member who was a retired contractor of some sorts who enjoyed strolling the halls and pointing out things he wasn't thrilled with. But I want to also, one of the problems we had with I believe, that we had with the previous construction manager was their inability to cease construction when they found something that was seriously lacking, and to have some kind of authority to make the contractor bow to our wishes, so to speak, to get things done right. So I want to make sure that that is in some manner included in these contract documents, because we don't want to be in there, the contractor saying, well, this is the way the plan said we have to do it, or this is the way we've always done it, and you don't know what you're talking about, that kind of stuff.
So over the course of construction, you'll have Dewey Construction Management on site full-time. We have bi-weekly, there are going to be weekly meetings with the contractors, bi-weekly meetings with the design professionals that are also going to be at the site to do observations and look at what's happened over the course of the last 2 weeks. If there's any issues that come up, we immediately bring it to the owner's attention, and collectively we make decisions of what we need to do to resolve the issue, either through and here's Mike walking in right now, to look at whatever changes that we need to rectify the situation. I will turn it over to Mike.
I'll restate my question.
Yeah, and you might want to also talk about what your role will be in the construction project. Come up to the mic.
Good evening. Sorry for my tardiness. I was given bad information by a good guy.
Yeah, lawyers aren't good guys.
Burn.
Sorry, Mr. Garten, I couldn't
I
resist.
protest.
Well, I'm ready. We're going to dive right into it for you. So
How about those Panthers?
I'll tell you. Okay, I guess here's my question that was raised is, we just came off the high school project. And what we had there was a board member who was a retired contractor of some sort, who spent a lot of time wandering the halls of the construction project and pointing out things he was not happy with. We don't have that here. No one here is going to be wandering the halls, but I want to make sure that somebody from your firm is going to have that role. You can't stand behind a contractor as you build, and I understand that. But other than weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings or once in a while, how much active oversight are you going to have going in there, making sure everything's done right?
Here's what I can tell you. This is a 24/7 project for us. We are oftentimes your first responders. A water pipe or a gates left open, anything like that, all through the project, contact information is given. I will be on site through the early site work all summer. From that point on, we will have an on-site representative who is there all day for daily operations. Mike Sander, he is currently working with the same contractor at Dallas. So between him on daily operations, I'll be there for all of the progress meetings, all of the superintendent meetings. Jamie and or me will both be at committee meetings to give monthly updates, and the quality and control aspect of the project is very important to us. We work very long hours. We put a lot of time and effort in with the design team, the facilities, the administration, to let something like that go wrong now. That's not how we run our projects. We are hands-on, we are boots on the ground from the beginning to the end of the project. We're the ones that hold the contractors accountable. What's in the documents is what we own. And we'll,
Sir, as you know, this is not what we had in the relationship with Turner when I arrived. And
That's why I'm asking the
You know,
questions, right?
for the new board members back, the building, the high school renovation project was probably let out in bids 2011.
Yeah.
In 2011, they broke ground or they started tearing things down in 2013. In 2014 is when I arrived, and I had it for the first year, then I handed off Miss Edwards. There was no oversight from this office on that, except we just wrote the check. Kelly did not have, he had a loose relationship with the contractor, and Turner was our rep there on the ground, but they did not have the authority that Dewey has in our contract, in this plan.
And that's the other key, was the authority, because we've had a couple instances where contractors, they want to get this thing done as soon as they can. So they probably are going to present you with a tight timeline with not a lot of wiggle room. So when you go on site and you see something that's wrong, and you say, that ain't right, fix it, and they say, well, I can't fix it because I got the concrete truck coming along. These are things I'm experienced from our previous thing. That's why I just want to make sure, I'm asking the question, that's all. Make sure you have the authority to say, you ain't moving forward until that's done right.
I understand, and I even understand the situation with the board member walking through. It's counterproductive to the project. We put together a set of front-end specifications to protect the district from those things from happening. There are more things in there than you can imagine to hold people accountable. We have language in there written for people who don't attend meetings. We have the right to fine them for not doing that. Simple things. But as far as concrete, if we don't have a testing agent or one of us is not on site, nobody should be pouring concrete. I assure you that. We have all of our inspections. We make sure the rebar is in, wire mesh fabric is installed properly on the chairs. I mean, down to the detail. We assist the district, the owners, through the design process so we can try to help minimize issues that could come up. That expertise and experience, we bring that back to the design development phase of your project. It's kind of a been there, done that. I've had guys try to cut corners. I've also had guys, made them tear down entire sections of masonry walls because I wasn't there to witness rebar, or they're not where they're supposed to be based on the schedule, not just by location, but by date. We're there in your best interest to make sure that this gets built the way that it's documented by the contract. So rest assured, this is not an open shop where people just come and do what they want at their own schedule. If they don't give us schedule updates every month with their application, they don't get paid. We have tools in there to protect you from, I guess, non-quality workmanship. We have, one of the things that we approve was the construction testing. That's part of tonight's approval. There's a reason for that. And we have total control of coordinating them, getting the test results, filing all the reports the way that they're supposed to be managed. All of that goes on throughout the process of this project. I can't speak to what happened at your high school project. It doesn't sound like it would swimmingly, but that's not how Dewey runs projects in the field. I assure you that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay.
Were they good answers, though?
Were they correct?
They're correct answers, yes.
It sounded a lot like
Yeah,
what
but-
came to talk to us initially early on. That's one of the things that I remember about.
Gotcha.
the conversation.
If you have a question or comment through the whole thing, call me directly, and I'll make sure I take care of it. All right?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Anybody going to go over and walk through the building? Anybody know?
I have no plans.
Well, we have an engineer.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think we just send a drone.
We have our experts to do this. We just didn't, they weren't doing it last time. That's what I'm saying. That's all.
All right, time to vote. We have had the motion and the second, so all those in favor of accepting the NIDIG renovation bid awards as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Next is public comment on the facilities consent agenda being presented tonight. Seeing no public comment, we'll move on to the facilities consent agenda. First item A is approval of the band tower for the QNB field. Item B is approval of the prefabricated concession stand and bathrooms for the QNB field. Item C is authorization for school district officials to sign band tower, concession stand, and bathroom contract agreements for bids. Next, we need a motion to approve the facilities consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Jackson, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Weed, discussion. Okay, hearing no discussion, all those in favor of accepting the facilities consent agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, public comment on the human sources items being presented for a vote. Seeing no public comment, the human resource consent agenda. We have professional staff. And that is it. So, vote on the human resources consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel items as recommended?
So moved.
Mr. Kern, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Jackson, discussion? Sir?
Before you vote on these things, I'd like, if I could, have Dr. Hoffman talk about our recruitment efforts, the interview efforts, and
sure.
all that, to
Yeah.
include a Chinese teacher from the last week.
I saw
Dr. Hoffman?
Teachers.
I saw that.
I'm not going to be
That's
here, but I have to be somewhere else, so I have to.
Right when I'm about to
Exit stage
speak.
left
We all
and-
saw that.
Thank you, Mr. Garden. And I was only kidding about lawyers not being good guys, okay?
Take it up with your fellow board member, I think. she
Yeah,
should be
I'm
ready.
gonna,
He's still feeling slighted there.
I do.
Have a good night.
Thank you. So just to give you a little bit of an update, I know that we've had a great number of positions posted this year and have really been trying to focus our attention on early recruitment of teachers so that we can get the best candidates. And we spoke at the last board meeting about how we have moved our hiring process up and did many of our interviews in the month of April, which is early for our district. And I think that it really shows in the quality of the candidates that we were able to secure. That doing so was really a great move on our part. We have, at the high school alone, hired 13 teachers so far. We have some of them that are still waiting to submit their final paperwork or finish the last round of interviews, but we've selected 13 teachers in math, RELA, social studies, special education, and science. We're still trying to finalize. Those interviews are today and tomorrow, but the rest of the positions have been filled, which is very exciting. For all of those together, we have screened just over 350 applications total, and I have completed just over 60, I think it's 61 interviews now over the last couple weeks to find these candidates. So certainly, I can say that the people that I'm bringing to you, I feel very strongly about are great additions to our Quakertown Community School District. In the middle level world, I've been working with Dr. Bubser on making sure that her positions are filled as well. We have a RELA position that was an internal transfer that we're very happy with, and recently Much to my surprise, I have to admit, we had 2 very high-quality Mandarin candidates. So after having that posted for a long time and being unable to find anyone within, it was 12 hours. Within 12 hours, we had 2 applicants and really had a tough decision on who to select. So that's a great place to be. So we did offer that position to an individual, I guess, or did she not finish? Maybe not. Tomorrow?
She's doing human.
Okay. Okay, well, then I won't misspeak, but we're hoping for that. And then, as I said, our final piece at the high school is hiring the chemistry and biology positions that we have, and then a computer programming teacher. And while I have the microphone for everyone that's watching out there, if you know anyone who's interested in becoming a computer programming teacher at Quakertown Community Senior High School, it's posted and you can apply for it. We'd love to have you on our team. So other than that, I think we're in a real great place.
What are you doing?
No, that's a good idea.
I'm trying. Maybe someone's watching and they didn't know we had it as an opening. I'm hopeful. So I think that we're in a very good place. I appreciate the board providing this support a couple meetings ago to allow us to go ahead and start advertising for these positions, even though we weren't at the final budget, because I really do believe, particularly in special education, but also in the math and sciences, that being able to post those positions well ahead of June allowed us to get some really high quality candidates. So thank you for that.
So I have a question with
Okay.
regard to hiring. Do you guys, I imagine there's a lot of student teachers that come through. Are you able to like kind of skim off the top of the folks that you know that are?
Sure. So actually, in recent years, we have not had as many student teachers as we've had, and I think that really has to do with the decline of people coming out of teacher education programs in general. So it did used to be that in any given year, you could walk into a building and you could see sometimes as many as 3 student teachers in that building. And I think, Mr. Shuck might know the actual numbers, but I think we're lucky if we get like maybe 2 a year at this point. We really just don't see that many people coming in. Certainly, we look for them. Mostly, we look for our long-term subs, people who have been in our district, in our classrooms, being a part of our new teacher academy, working with our teachers and our coaches, my office, every day. And certainly, we still have them interview and go through the process. This year, actually, several of our candidates that we ended up hiring at the end of the process with external candidates and with what we know still rose to be someone we would hire again and offer a contract to. So that's where we get most of our staff from. It's kind of like a year-long job interview. See what they participate in, how they are with the students, how they interact with us, what the principal thinks about their participation in their classroom instruction. And that's a really great place to be because you've seen them, and now you get to have them be a full-time part of your community.
I can speak. We had one long-term sub had been on our team in our district for 8 years as a long-term sub. Got himself certified in five different areas, so he was flexible and he knew that we would bring him in, but we weren't hiring because we didn't have the retirements. But as soon as we got a retirement in his certificated areas, at least one of the certificated areas, he got a job right away, and he got that tenure. So he had 8 years, so he starts or 7 years, and that year that he was a contract, he had 8 years of experience, jumped right up on the pay scale. So that's the way we build loyalty up to the organization and select our candidates.
Thank you, Dr. Hoffman, and thank you, Dr. Harner. Any further discussion regarding the Human Resources Consent Agenda?
I'd only point out that there's a couple positions in here that are on the proposed budget, so.
Okay.
We commit to this, we commit to the budget, no going back.
We approved the budget
Sure.
temporarily.
Finalized,
Yes, I know.
We
It's
did,
not finalized
we did
yet.
approve it really already, though.
The official one doesn't come out until
June.
June 6th.
Yeah.
So you can kind of squeak it out until the last minute, just let everybody know.
All right, all those in favor of the Human Resources Consent Agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, dates for board member calendars. We have on May 9th is a Finance Committee meeting in Board Caucus Room number 3. May 23rd at 5:45 is the Policy Committee meeting, Board Caucus Room number 3. 7 p.m. is the work session, regular voting meeting in this community room. June 6th, 6 p.m. is the Facilities Committee meeting, Board Caucus Room 3. Also at 6 is the Education and Curriculum meeting, Community Room A, followed at 7 by the work session, regular voting meeting here in the community room. And last but certainly not least, on June 14th is the commencement of Stabler Arena. And just the fact that this is on our calendar means the year is just flying by. Okay. And that brings us to the adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.